Well, hopefully they'll show up. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting, January 22nd, 2024. If you would, please call the roll.
Chairman Najad,
Here?
Commissioner Beatty,
Present.
Commissioner Jabbar,
Present.
Commissioner Jabia,
Present.
Commissioner Javed, Commissioner Linton,
Here.
Commissioner Macon is absent, Commissioner Noyola,
Here.
Commissioner Senegar is absent, Alternate Commissioner Harris is absent, Alternate Commissioner Sorrell.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We do have a quorum. And the minutes of the meeting of December 18, 2023 was distributed to all. I would like to get a motion to accept the minutes into the record unless you have any comments and or revisions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of December 18th, and we have a second. Any discussion in the matter? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. Ms. Demi, we're going to get started with PZ 2023507, please.
Good afternoon.
Good
Zach
afternoon.
Rowe of Levins Engineering and Design requests approval of the preliminary plat of the Montclair subdivision, Phase 3, Sections A, B, and C, Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas. This is a 16-acre development located at the north end of Avenue Montclair, containing 40 new residential lots. The proposed extension of Avenue Montclair includes a 60-foot wide right-of-way with 36 feet in pavement width and tapers down to 55 feet wide right-of-way with 27 feet in pavement width at the curve traveling to the east. The proposed streets of Ferncrest and Compton Drive have a 50-foot right-of-way with 27 feet in pavement width. Cameron Court has a 50-foot wide right-of-way with 27 feet in pavement width. Water and sewer will be provided by the extension of city utilities. Looking at the screen, the area outlined in red is the area under review. This is the preliminary plat. And this is the drainage plan. The original packet distributed for this case contained 8 conditions. Upon further review by staff, the first condition listed in the packet was not necessary as the proposed plat meets the minimum requirements. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the request with the following conditions excluding condition number 1. Number 1 was Avenue Montclair shall maintain a 60-foot right-of-way and 36-foot face of curb-to-curve pavement. Number 2, the final plat shall include a 33-foot back-to-back of curb pavement radii dimensions to all cul-de-sacs. Number 3, right-of-way dimension callouts shall be labeled right-of-way. Number 4, shall adjust street light spacing along Avenue Montclair to meet minimum spacing requirements of 200 feet. Number 5, water mains located between 2 lots must be cased and a 10-foot exclusive waterline easement shall be dedicated. Number 6, the dead-end water line in Montclair Phase 2 shall be connected to the proposed phases to eliminate unnecessary dead ends. Number 7, shall obtain a storm pipe tie-in permit for the proposed piping tying into ditch 126 per Drainage District 6. The fire hydrants number 8, the fire hydrant shall be installed no further than 500 feet apart per 2021 International Fire Code. So again, looking at the screen, to make it a little bit clearer as to what I was saying about the conditions, right now staff is proposing that we exclude condition number 1 because the minor collector does serve that first branch of Section A. When it tapers, it does meet the requirement for the number of dwelling units to a residential street. And I do believe that we have the engineer and the property owner with us today.
Okay. Let me ask you a question on number 6. What is the use of unnecessary in the last sentence?
So I will defer to water utilities. I do believe that we have a representative here that can speak on that.
Good afternoon. My name is Edward Brown with the City of Beaumont Water Utilities.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is the word unnecessary, should there be, I'm trying to figure out what is necessary and what's unnecessary. Normally, what I see is there shouldn't be any dead-end line.
That's correct, but there's some cases such as cul-de-sacs where it sometimes is just necessary to have a dead end there instead of trying to loop things back. It's just not possible to loop them back in some cases. In this case, for this particular item, for the unnecessary dead line there was a dead end line on Montclair Phase 2 that got set up for Phase 3, but by the looks of it, Phase 3 had changed plans. There's no more back alley private line or private drives that are back there anymore going around the homes. So we currently have a city utility for water line back there that just dead ends. It's a little unnecessary. Seems like the plans changed from what Phase 2 was to going into Phase 3.
Okay. I just want to make sure that there won't be any fight over what's necessary and what's unnecessary later on, depending on what the applicant's opinion is versus the city's opinion.
So to resolve that, we could add the following language: the dead-end water line main in Montclair Phase 2 shall be connected to the proposed phases to eliminate unnecessary dead ends, comma, as determined by the city.
Sounds good to me.
I'm in a problem solving.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you very much, sir.
No problem.
I'm glad that you cleared that, and you're going to have that in the write-up, right? Great. And the applicant, Mr. Rowe, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine, how about yourself?
Very well, sir. Thank you. You have anything in addition to give us, Mr. Rowe?
Yes,
Well,
sir.
first, if you don't mind, state your name and address.
Sure.
So we don't get in trouble here.
Zach Rowe with Levins Engineering and Design, 3250 East Texas Freeway here in Beaumont. So as to the 7 remaining conditions, we've either revised the preliminary plat or have addressed them in the construction plans that will be submitted tomorrow, including the dead-end water line in Phase 2.
Right. And you do understand the question about number 6, right?
I'm sorry, number 6. Yes, sir, we've addressed that already.
Okay. I was talking about number 6 where we are going to make a modification to the change, right?
Yes, sir, we don't have an objection to that modification.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Any questions for the gentleman? Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Thank you.
Let's see, what do we need to do here? Okay, this doesn't require a public comment. So we heard from the staff and also the applicant. The staff is making a change to one of the items to be as per opinion of the city. And with that, I'll look for a motion.
Chairman, the motion we need to say as amended. So whoever
As
makes
amended,
whoever
yes.
makes the motion, we need to say with the conditions as amended.
Okay, let's have a motion as amended.
Real quick, this was advertised as a public hearing, so we may need to open it to the floor if there's any comments.
Is a public hearing with the city council?
It would be for planning commission.
Okay, yeah, so you can get.
Okay, I don't have that note here, but I'll be happy to do that. Before we continue, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case?
My name is Sam Parigi, and I'm at 445 North 14th Street. And it has been 23 years since the last time we added on to this subdivision. And that land is set vacant for 23 years, and we're kind of excited about putting in this 40 lots in Montclair, and then the next section is North Chase. Getting a lot of interest in it. It will add, I don't know, 35, 40, when it's complete, $35, $40 million worth of homes and street improvements and stuff. So we are very much excited about doing this, and we want to get started as soon as we can. And we had no problem with that water line tying it in, because 6 of these lots will back up to the alley that's existing there, and they will utilize that alley. The rest of the lots will not have alleys, but these six of the first 12 lots we put in will have an alley. So any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But we're just tickled to death to do this. I did the last section, which is the street before this, for my friends, and that was 20-something years ago.
Good.
So,
You're going to get some new friends now.
yeah, right.
Thank you, Mr. Parigi.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon. Okay, we heard from the public, and now I would entertain a motion.
A motion to approve with the 7 amended additions.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion in the matter? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thanks. PZ 2023-508.
Zach Rowe of Levens Engineering and Design requests approval of a preliminary plat of the Bell Chase subdivision, Section 2, Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas. The 10-acre development is located at the north end of North Chase Avenue, containing 24 new residential lots. The proposed extension of North Chase Avenue includes 55-foot wide right-of-way with 27 feet in pavement width, and the same for Michelle and North Chase Court. The subdivision will include cul-de-sacs at each proposed street where it dead ends. Water and sewer will be provided by extension of city utilities. Mr. Rowe requests a waiver to allow a residential street with a single outlet to serve 34 dwelling units. Section 26.03.002 subsection 5 states a single outlet street shall serve no more than 32 dwelling units. So again, the waiver is to go from 32 dwelling units to 34. Staff recommends approval of the request and the waiver with the following conditions. Number 1, the final plat shall include a 33-foot back-to-back of curved pavement radii dimensions to all cul-de-sacs. Number 2, the right-of-way dimension call-out shall be labeled right-of-way. Number 3, shall obtain a storm pipe tie-in permit for the proposed pipe tying into ditch 126 per Drainage District 6. Number 4, fire hydrants shall be installed no further than 500 feet apart per 2021 International Fire Code. On the screen, the area outlined in red is the area under review. This is the proposed subdivision and the drainage calculations. I do believe that we have the applicant and the property owner here.
Great. Any questions? Mr. Rowe?
Zach Rowe with Levens Engineering and Design. Do I need to give my address again?
If you don't mind, please.
3250 East Tex Freeway, Beaumont. So as staff reported, this is another 24 lots to extend North Chase Avenue adjacent to the Montclair subdivision. We offer no objection to the conditions stipulated by staff, and we do request that a waiver be provided to the number of lots to a single outlet. While we're only proposing 24 lots in this subdivision, there are 10 existing lots to the south that are putting us over that threshold.
Any questions for the gentleman? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rowe. And this requires a public comment also? Okay. Good. Anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? Mr. Parigi, run. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sam Parigi at 445 North 14th Street. Again, same song, second verse. But I will tell you this, it was interesting when we started doing this development that the Montclair people were not interested in looping through the North Chase subdivision, and the North Chase subdivision were not interested in the Montclair people coming through there. Henceforth, that's why we ended up with 34 lots instead of 32 lots. They like it just like it is. And I just kind of said, okay, if we can get it that way. That was the way it was originally designed, and then there was a plan to loop it through there. But since Montclair wants one entrance in because they monitor it with a camera and everything else. They just kind of liked it this way, so they can control who's going in and out of Montclair. So, but we're happy about this one also, and would like to get started immediately.
Thank you, Mr. Parigi.
Thank you.
Any questions for the gentleman? Okay, we've heard from the staff and the owner and also the designer. And with that, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with the 4 conditions.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. We're going to go to the last one from the Planning Commission, PZ 2023-512.
Richard Bartz of Whiteley Infrastructure Group has requested approval of a replat of Lot 6 Bayou Oaks Estates addition into Lot 6A Bayou Oaks Estates addition, Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas. This property is located within the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction. The intent of the plat is to increase the size of the property and to shift the southern boundary line by 2 feet to the north so the Bayou Den Golf Club's service lines are no longer located on Mr. and Mrs. LeBlanc's land. Staff recommends approval of the request. We did send 8 property owner notices and received 1 in favor and 1 in opposition. The area outlined in red on the screen is the area under review. This is the proposed plat. And we do have the applicant present.
Great. Mr. Rowe, the other Mr. Rowe.
Good afternoon. Tom Rowe with Wiley Infrastructure Group, 655 Langham Road, Beaumont, Texas.
To do this one for you?
Could I get him? Well, maybe I could have twisted his arm a little bit. As Demi said, this is just a replat out in the ETJ. If you're familiar with the Bayou Den Golf Course, the rear portion of this property is the old part of the links course that they sold off several years ago to Rodney Robichaux. The homeowner, the LeBlancs, that have that first home as you turned into the golf course, wanted to increase what they owned and have a little bit more land around their home, which forced us to go into a replat process. So kind of unique situation, taking in part of the old golf course, but that's kind of the oddity about this plat. And then trying to get some utilities for future that Demi spoke about, the 2-foot strip along the bottom.
Great. Any questions for Mr.? Nope.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now we go to the public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? None is heard, so we'll close the public hearing. What was the negative comment about?
One opposition.
I'm sorry?
That you had one opposition?
No, it was 1 in favor, and it was the apartment.
No. Okay.
Yeah, the apartments were basically thanking the city.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, good. We heard from the applicant, and also there are no other public comments. With that said, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. And any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The yeas have it. Thank you. This concludes the Planning Commission. I believe it does, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we're going to go into the joint meeting, and the Honorable Mayor will get us started if he has a... We do? Okay, perfect. Let's go.
May I have roll call, please?
Mayor West,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Turner is absent. Councilmember Felshaw, absent. Councilmember Durio,
Present.
Councilmember Neal, Councilmember Getz, Councilmember Samuel. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us for the joint public hearing of the Planning Commission today. This is a joint meeting with quorums of both the Planning Commission and the City Council. The Planning Commission will vote to give recommendations to the City Council. The items will then come before City Council in 1 to 2 weeks for a final decision. The only opportunity to speak on these items will be at the meeting today. There will be no time available for public comments when they come before the city council. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We get started with PZ 2023513.
Fulton Johnson requests approval of a specific use permit to allow a duplex to be constructed at 788 and 798 Shell Road. This property is located within RS District, and as such, a two-family dwelling requires a specific use permit. The structure will be 2 stories with 2 units for a combined total of 2,300 square feet each, containing 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. According to our city's comprehensive plan, the property is located within a conservation revitalization area. Such areas are built-up areas where a significant portion of the area is experiencing influences such as incompatible land uses, dilapidated structures, vacant parcels which may exist, are a good to excellent development site. This request appears to align with our city's comprehensive plan of Beaumont. Staff recommends approval of the request with the following conditions. Number 1, install a 4-foot sidewalk along the property lines abutting Shell Road and Kenneth Avenue. Number 2, the proposed driveways to be redesigned or relocated to meet city standards. Number 3, construction plans must meet all requirements by water utilities for water and sanitary sewer services, including any requirements of the city's backflow, pretreatment, and/or fog program. Number 4, construction plans must meet all fire codes and building code requirements. Staff did send 26 property owner notices. We received 0 in favor and 0 in opposition. On your screen, 798 and 788 Shell Road, there are technically 4 lots that exist, but the width of all of those lots are about 25 feet. So he is proposing to do a common development plan where he would situate the duplex. He owns all 4 lots. He would situate the duplex over the common lot line of 2, or the interior 2 parcels of land, and then the same for 788. This is the aerial photography of the land. It is surrounded by single-family homes. This is the site plan. This is the subject property, and to the north, northeast, east, to the south, and to the west. And I do believe that we have the applicant present.
Great, thank you. Any questions for her? Mr. Johnson? Good afternoon, sir. How are you today? Very well. Would you state your name and address for the record,
Johnson,
please?
2435 West Calder Road, Beaumont, Texas.
And we'd like to hear your comments and any additional information you might have on this.
Just my client, obviously we're gonna build these duplexes for her, so we want to just see if we can do 2 on these 4 lots. Certainly we're gonna meet all the requirements and don't have any objection to any of the conditions that we need to meet.
Okay. These are yours, you're gonna do them, you said client or?
I have a client, yeah, I'm the contractor.
You're the contractor, okay, all right, great, great. And you and the owner understand the conditions?
Yes, no objections.
Fantastic. And nobody's objecting to it, so, any questions for the gentleman? You see his drawings in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? None is heard, so we'll close the public hearing. We heard from the staff and also the contractor. Him and the owner do understand the conditions, and I would entertain a motion.
A motion to approve with the 4 conditions?
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion in the matter? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
In opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, this was it, and now we're going to go to some comments from Demi Eggman and a memo regarding the planning community and development.
Okay, so this is for a discussion, not necessarily to be voted on today, that may come at a later date. So the general purpose of Planned Unit Development District is to encourage unified design of residential, commercial, office, professional services, retail, and institutional uses, and facilities or combinations thereof in accordance with an improved comprehensive development plan. The district provides for greater flexibility in the design of buildings, yards, courts, and circulation than provided by other districts. Similarly, cluster housing developments are residential developments containing attached or detached units on limited portions of land, with the remaining land areas consolidated into common open space areas. It is typical for these types of developments to house individuals who wish to have smaller yard space with larger homes, which are commonly referred to as patio homes, or condominiums or townhomes. Currently, our ordinances mandate a 25-foot front yard setback to all structures within the PUD district and cluster housing developments. District area and height regulations identify exterior side setbacks measuring at 10 feet in other zoning districts to be adequate distance to avoid site obstructions. In an effort to meet emerging development trends and community needs, staff is looking into updating the ordinances to accommodate flexibility in yard size for such developments. It should be noted, cluster housing developments must obtain permission and an approved recorded plat prior to development, and commercial structures built in PUD also require a specific use permit prior to development. So those would still come before you. On the screen is basically a visual of what I just stated, or what I would be proposing or planning. So in PUD, they say that all buildings and structures shall not be set back less than 25 feet. I'm proposing 10. And the same for cluster housing developments. Again, this would not affect your traditional single-family home developments unless they were to come before Planning Commission or and City Council for approval prior to recordation of a plat or development.
Question. How does this affect an existing street? If there's an existing street that all the houses are lined up 20 feet behind the street line,
So
and one house is demolished and the new owner wants to come 10 feet?
So typically, I'll go back to the slides so we can look at a piece of land together. So there we go. So take, for instance, the area outlined in red. This typically, any kind of cluster housing would have to be, I believe it is a 2-acre minimum in order to even do that design. So it couldn't go lot by lot, but if you took, a piece of land that Mr. Parigi is wanting to do, then you would basically design it in such a way to meet all of the requirements, but it would be like a new development. It wouldn't go into an existing subdivision.
So it would be for a cluster, not a single home.
Right.
If you were in the city.
Right. And for PUD, a lot of it would require a rezone at this point. There are some areas that are already zoned as such, but that would be because they're trying to accommodate this kind of lifestyle or aesthetic.
Good, okay. Any questions? So there's no actions to be taken?
No action today.
Perfect.
This may come before you in a future meeting to review and approve or deny.
Fantastic. Any other comments? Nope. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, we're done, sir.
Well, thank y'all, and thank everybody for coming, and the meeting is now adjourned.
This wasn't bad. If you would have gone a little faster, we could have got out at 3:30.